and take all your post-it notes with you. And so, yeah, maybe find the person that has the same colour eyes or same colour socks as earlier.
Okay.
I hear rumours, and I've seen all the post-its on the windows, that you've been doing a bit of brainstorming in terms of projects to look at kind of innovation and how we can apply that here in Colombia to kind of policy challenges. Obviously, we're both interested, I think, in things around the environment, around biodiversity, and there's no better place to do that in Colombia, the second most biodiverse country in the world, but a country where, regardless of what happens, changes of government, you've got a real interest in looking for innovative solutions to kind of protecting that biodiversity and fighting against climate change.
And see if you can come up with maybe 3 or 4 different ideas. And when you come up with an idea, if you just raise your hand with a piece of paper, and we'll come around and we'll then talk.
Do I consider myself a tech optimist? The answer is a definite yes, without being necessarily so in the detail that I can contribute to that optimism, if you see what I mean. But when I do see the kind of solutions that are kind of being posited around us, even in my time since I joined the diplomatic service, the changes in the way we kind of communicate, the way the world has got smaller in some ways, it's just been incredible. I'm always reassured when I see people who are genuinely kind of working on this stuff, looking for solutions, and I'm very happy to let them get on with it. I think often what we need to do as a government is to kind of create the environment that allows that innovation to happen, that allows the experts space. That means taking risks, which sometimes as civil servants we're not famous for being particularly good at. It means encouraging people to fail. Obviously, you know, some of these problems are just so big and so mind-blowing that sometimes you think, can even technology do that? But I think it's our best hope.
With their favourite idea that they came up with and describe it to the group.
And now
Yeah.
okay, we would like to explain the two ideas.
The things that we can do, I think, to help, I'll create that environment. So I think it's allow the innovators to innovate, and part of that is about business environment. It's about not assuming you've got all of the solutions. It's about spotting things that work and then sort of building on those. It's about breaking down barriers. I think basically what really appeals to us here in Colombia about having you with us is the kind of allowing us to start kind of think from scratch, to really sort of challenge our own assumptions. You can get into kind of cycles with this kind of work, whether it's a budget cycle, whether it's a resource cycle, whether it's you know, we've done this before, so let's keep doing it. I think the opportunity to have some people, a team come out and sort of challenge those assumptions, but also bring in good practice that you've seen from elsewhere, I think is something that really appeals here to us.
So oftentimes the state, the government don't even know how many roads we have. This would be a service based on satellite imagery and artificial intelligence.
You know, embassies are embassies and they tend to work in similar ways. What you guys can do is really challenge those assumptions and get them to go back and work from first principles and perhaps think about the crazy ideas in a way that sort of, you know, is a safe space to do so. Looking at some of the questions you've tried to address, you seem to have done that because they're kind of very fundamental questions that we just don't as embassies step back and think about enough. The other thing that I think is really, really important, and we're a relatively big and complex set of people here, is actually breaking down silos. So I think if we can get people thinking across teams, not just thinking about what they own and the rules they've got around their budgets, but actually much more about the outcomes they want to achieve, then I think that will be a good thing.
The spread of ideas, it just speaks to the amount of creativity that we can actually come up with in a small amount of time when we just combine these existing services, technologies, and just start mashing them together and having.
What's great about having you here is giving the team and the teams a chance to step back and think about kind of, you know, things from first principles, what we want to achieve. The world's changing fast. How do we play into that? What does the new system in London, what does the new government in Colombia mean? What does that mean for what we do?
The whole point of this was not to give you like the perfect idea for you to go and be like, this is what's going to save the world. But actually just think about how can you go through a process where you hold your ideas lightly and you actually collaborate with other people to think about what it could be.
As we saw from the conversation earlier, to throw around some ideas around some really big, tricky problems, which there's no kind of fixed solution. If there was, we would have kind of solved them. To kind of discuss those ideas and then, as we were saying, pivot into kind of delivering them and to working out how we can all play a role in doing that. I think you being here and giving them the chance to do that is absolutely, it's the right time as well, actually. One of the key things about the call that's coming out in April is to kind of generate as many ideas as we can. It's fantastic you're here talking to the teams, talking to colleagues on the Colombian side, so we can have a real understanding of what the issues are and how we can kind of help solve them.
Guys,